We're trying something new here on Real World Test Drive. In addition to our regular car reviews, we're now doing news updates. In today's episode, Kia says they're the only major automotive manufacturer to have sales up at retail. Just in case you don't know, retail sales in the automotive industry means non-fleet sales. In other words, cars that are being purchased by individuals rather than rental car agencies or corporations. All the major car companies globally have really seen a rough year in 2020, but Kia did not. Why do you think that is?
I think it is a beautiful combination of a reputation for value, for durability, for great warranty, for financial peace of mind that the Kia brand has, that has now been heavily modified and kind of merged with a high degree of emotional attraction.
James Bell is the Director of Corporate Communications for Kia Motors America.
People are motivated to go drive and experience and own a Kia, as opposed to thinking of it as just kind of a, it'll do. We are much more than it'll do now. We are a brand that is top tier on every level, and our sales numbers prove it out. And people are coming into the dealerships and feeling confident in spending their money again during these times, which are in many ways less than confidence inspiring.
I found after many years of doing this, and perhaps you will agree as well, most people buy cars because they like the way it looks.
Sure.
You never hear anybody say, well, it was ugly, but I bought it anyway. Do you have any attractive cars this year on the product line?
I think vehicles like the Kia Stinger, I have one as my company car, and it is consistently called out by people at gas stations as being a Jaguar or Maserati or much more, sleek, sexy vehicles than what they would expect from the Kia brand. So I think the Stinger is the one that really kind of showed the world that we can make a beautiful car just like anybody else. That was quickly followed on by the Telluride. This is our 7-passenger family SUV. But we kind of reached back into what SUVs were when they first became popular, which was big, bold, and boxy, to use a phrase. And the Telluride has just really captured people's imagination. It kind of touches on what the experiences of owning and driving a Range Rover. You sit up nice and high. You've got this commanding kind of view, beautiful materials inside and out. And then I think it's that Range Rover experience at about a third of the price.
You had an anecdote for me when I was driving. You said, for people who don't know in the audience, people who work in the car industry, one of the benefits as an executive is you get a company car, usually every 4 months or whatever it is. And you said something interesting about the Telluride. Tell me about that.
Yeah, sure. Well, and this is interesting for me because my wife would very much like me to have a Telluride, but the story I told you is that the Telluride is actually selling through so quick. In fact, we have a little joke inside the company. We call it the Sell-You-Ride because it's absolutely on fire at retail. But we as executives are not allowed to order one as a company car. Any vehicle that's built is going right to the dealers and right into customers' garages and driveway.
Bell says Kia's brand image is changing.
Kia now is a high value but high attraction brand. We are making vehicles that are as rough and tough and ready as a Jeep or a Land Rover if you want to go on that adventure run, but also as quiet and comfortable as something from Lexus or Range Rover when you're taking your mother-in-law to the opera. So I think that is the biggest difference. We are not who you think we once were. Not to say that that's an incorrect view. This was a company that was probably best known as a used car alternative. Those days are all gone. And if you still feel that way, go out to a Kia dealership, and I think you'll be rewired.
What is the coolest thing that I'm going to find in a new Kia?
Well, I think first, and I don't know if you would call this cool, but our vehicles are engineered and designed to be very simple to use. You can get into a Kia and immediately figure out how to turn it on, immediately figure out how to put on the seat heaters, immediately figure out how to turn on the radio, change the station. It's just very intuitive place to do your business. And we think that's also a huge safety factor because we don't want vehicles that people are struggling to use while they're driving at 65 miles an hour.
So, what can we expect next from the Korean automaker?
I can't share too much because I like my job here and I want to keep it. But I can tell you that we are going to get very heavy and very strong into the electrified transportation business. I know here in the US, there's some that kind of wonder why are car companies doing this? Because it's the future. It's a inevitable future. Here in the US, our fuel prices are lower than they are around the world. So maybe we're going to adopt it a little bit slower, but it is the future of transportation. And Kia is about to make a huge investment in that.
If you're enjoying these updates, and I hope you are, please subscribe to Real World Test Drive on YouTube and follow me on Twitter at Grant Winter. For Real World Test Drive, I'm Grant Winter reporting from Washington.